Hello, Mbuyi.
Hello?
Hello, Mbuyi. Is your network good?
Yeah, no. Yeah, very good. Um,
All right. I see everyone
hey,
connecting.
yeah.
May
Hi,
I,
Kanye.
sorry, quickly, may I please have confirmation of who is using the iPhone?
It's me.
Skietegile.
Oh, all right.
Hi, good.
All right. Hi, thank you. Hello, Jada.
Hi, Jada.
Jada. Oh, thank you. Welcome, Jada, all the way from the US. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, I'm just checking everyone that's here. We have Usizwe Mabaso, who's one of our South African authors. We have Kanyisile Mdluli, who's one of our guests. Kanyisile, I need to switch on your microphone.
Hello, hi.
Hi, can you twist your
Hi.
camera?
Oh, okay, no problem. How are you?
Yeah.
Is it fine now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you so much for having me.
So thank you for
Um,
making time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we only have a few minutes. We have 40 minutes on this platform. So we shall start as soon as possible. Okay, Mbuyi.
yes, Nos?
Okay, you will assist me. Please, you can see everyone that's online, right?
Yeah, I can.
And confirming that we're all good and ready.
Okay, Nos, let us also welcome Umasejo Mkhotsi.
Hi, welcome.
Yeah. Hi, okay.
Masejo, please say hi. Checking microphone.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes,
Yes, we can.
Okay.
All right, so let me just quickly do this.
Hi, Champ.
We shall mute.
So Northwest is recognizing each other.
Yes, we see that. Just for crowd control, we do not have a technical team, so we are doing the switchboard ourselves. So we shall mute and unmute as we go accordingly. But just as to start the show so that we understand who we are and what we are here for, I am Nos Royale, also known as Unosipho Wagamkhize, in partnership with Mbuyi Vilagazi, who is my partner and co-host in producing the show that we have today. So we are here as authors, writers, and initially mental leaders of society. I'd like to read here a short intro to prepare us for today as we go into the conversation of the lockdown effect on Nicholas Conley is in his blog once said, writers are the individuals who have designated themselves with the daunting task of recreating the time, the place, and characters of whatever era they have lived in. And they also have a role of keeping their era alive for the next generation. The book market has had to deal with a great shift as bookshops have been closed and libraries have been closed during the coronavirus lockdown. On today's episode, we want to find out from the authors, how has the COVID-19 crisis affected them? And what are the methods they have used to navigate this unprecedented period? And how will this crisis influence their writing style and influence the people that they write for? We would lastly like to assess the new normal of authors, publishing houses, and bookshops for post-lockdown period. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the lockdown chat of Nos and Mbuyi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kanye, let's already start with you. You are one of our authors who we currently know. Also, you're running a blog.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Everyone, this and good job. I would like to start with. I would like to. Lunos. Okay, guys, forgive us that we've got some technical problems.
Hello.
Nos? Oh. Okay, can I start with Jada? Because Jada has 30 minutes with us.
Okay, all right. Sorry, Kanye, we're gonna start with Jada now.
Okay.
Okay.
Please continue.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, Jada, I would like to ask, how has the lockdown affected you as an author, and how has been your reaction towards everything that has been happening around the world?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. I am Jada Moore from the US. I'm located in Chicago. So it's an honor to be here with all of you. As far as COVID-19, honestly, when everything first started, I did not take it as serious. I was very careful, washing my hands, staying at home. But then everyone in the US started buying up tissue and just all the toiletries. And then it was like, wow, this is real. And I remember going to the store and nothing was available, nothing. This is a very trying time. Gratefully, none of my family have been infected with the virus, but affected, yes. A lot of jobs have been laid off and whatnot. So it's a time to be really grateful. The company I work for, they actually let 45 people go. And I'm just thanking God that that wasn't my position that they let go. I am still employed. As far as, being an author, it's been challenging because we had so many events planned for the summer, for the fall, things that we paid for, and they're still trying to figure out how do we go about refunds, or, do we just reschedule the event and hold on to their finances for now? But a lot of people want their money now because, they may be without work, and it's been very, very challenging. As far as just being home, when quarantine first started, I seen it as a time to just take a break, to rest. My plate is always full. But then I also got to a point where I knew that I needed to reconnect with God because I wasn't hearing from him. And he guides me, he leads me, he tells me what to write about, he tells me, who to bring on my podcast. So anytime I don't hear from him, I know that I'm not connected with him because we can't do anything without him. So I've been really focused on the word and reading my daily devotions and studying. I've joined so many groups, so many like Bible studies and group me's, and just different groups where they are encouraging entrepreneurs or faith-based businesses. So I've been trying to get, more involved in connecting with like-minded people. When I think of my audience during this time, I write about healing and wholeness. And I think about the women who are not in relationships, and they can't see their family and they're lonely and they may fall back into past cycles or toxic relationships. So I've been encouraging them through my podcast. So I've been airing my podcast since March, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And my podcast is about overcoming whatever it is. It can be adoption or, relationships or divorce, things of that nature. So I really want to just make sure I'm checking in with my audience and encouraging them every day. I'm posting a status on Facebook, just to encourage them and remind them that God is in the midst of this. We will get through this. And with the podcast, I've been bringing on different guests every week to tell their story. And I just really want to encourage them, my listeners and just even my followers on social media. It's a time where we need each other, where we have to motivate and encourage each other and be there for each other. My next episode is this upcoming Tuesday, and I actually interview a therapist, and it's therapy and COVID-19. And she just talks about how everything has changed for her as a therapist. Her clientele has really increased, and people are panicking, and she's trying to help heal them and be there for them. But she's also panicking and going through a lot, so we're all in this together.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Jada. Can
You're
you
welcome.
understand your situation with the book that you've written? Is it just one, or how many do you currently have? And how are the sales going for you in that sense? And how are you using technology and even your podcast to promote your book and still push sales for your career?
Yep, that's a great question. So my very first book is Brokenness That Made Me Whole. I released this last March in 2019. And this book was written for the woman who has been hurt but wants to love again. It's for the woman who's single and needs encouragement. And it's for the woman, who needs to embrace her singleness and continue to move forward and know that true love is out there. So with Brokenness That Made Me Whole, this is also around my podcast. So my podcast cover love, relationships, and overcoming. It's also poetic, inspirational, and emotionally unfiltered. So every time I air my podcast, I'm bringing up my book. If I'm not posting about my podcast on social media, I'm posting pictures of my book or, inserts from my book. So we really have to use our technology because with everyone staying at home, they're online anyway. So just keep marketing yourself, regardless, if you can't go out to these events, you still have to market yourself. I took time to go through my email list. Now is the time to just kind of update your website, update your blog, send out some new blog postings and really use your email list, connect with them. So I downloaded my subscribers, and every week now I'm sending out messages to them regarding my podcast or my book, or just checking in with them. Like Mother's Day, I sent a Mother's Day email. So just always connecting with your audience, regardless if you can't see them face to face. We really have to use technology. As far as and then I am also an author in this book with 50 other authors, and it's 100 words of inspiration. So with this book, we only had 100 words we could use to inspire the reader. So it's me and 50 other authors in this book. And last weekend, as I was searching for Brokenness That Made Me Whole online, I found out that my book is now available online with Walmart and Target. So that was huge. My publishing company said I'm the first author, from the company to be in Walmart and Target. So it was such a great accomplishment. So even though, thank you. So even though we are in the pandemic, God is still working. There's still work for us to do. There's still, blessings and things that we could start, things that we can create, things that we can finish. I am working on my second and third book. My second book, I wanted to be a healing journal. So it'll be different quotes that I've created, but allow the reader to reflect and write down their thoughts as well. And then I have a trials and testimonies book that I'm working on. So I'm using this time to find a balance with rest and family, and also on the other side is actually being creative and using the downtime that I have.
Thank you, Jada. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're welcome.
Moving to our next lady of inspiration, Masego. I would like to hear from you and your journey and your experience during lockdown. How has it been for you? How have you been affected? And what are the immediate changes that you had to make in order to keep the train moving, keep going during this time?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Nos. Eh, eh, ¿Cómo estás? 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 ¿ Uh, a lockdown came as a shock, I can say.
Mhm.
Here in South Africa, Jada, I can say we were like headless chicken. The miracle Mike, you know, the miracle Mike who with no head. So we were like panicking, and it was the same. It was the same situation with you, and yeah. So I think yeah, with us, we were told about the fourth industrial revolution, and we were still studying it. What is it all about? What is this fourth industrial revolution? What does it hold? How is life going to be after that? And then boom. So fourth industrial revolution. So Corona for me, I take it as as fourth industrial revolution. We were forced to jump, even though we didn't swim. We didn't know how to swim. The survivors. For now, I'm thinking it's all about survivors. If you can't swim, you can't make it. You won't make it, or you have to find a way to find yourself not drowning. And yeah, so we are forced to adjust. We were forced to adjust. We are still being forced to adjust. And but for me as an author like you, I had enough time to talk to God. That's the that for me. It's something I was telling my mentee. He's one of us here. I was telling him that I used to look at my Bible like passing it, like passing a street that I don't need in my life. But now I had to sit down. I was telling him about Job, that I was shocked what Job went through, that I had in church partially. So now I had to read about it, and I was like, whoa, did Job went through that? And so spirituality, I'm working on my spirituality, and with me, guys, I went through quarantine before all of you, because I went through a shocking state of my life. January the 29th, I was dismissed from my company. But and I was having that time of myself, reading the Bible, asking God whether it was his plan with my life to be dismissed, because yes, I wanted to resign to pursue my 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 duty. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, 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 we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We've just
So
muted
now,
those people.
oh, ah, can I continue? Okay. So
Yes,
now,
please continue. Thank you.
now the effect of Corona found me. Okay. The Corona found me on. I was ready for it. I was ready for it. Unfortunately, or should I say fortunately for me, it was another way to get myself healed through that the process, the process. And yeah, I had to fix myself, and I'm still working on my spirituality now. I see myself now as becoming, you know, powerful, both. Even though physically, guys, because I don't like to gym. Some things are happening here, but it's fine. We will fix. We will fix everything after lockdown. But yes, not for me personally. It's a great moment for me with reading. As an author, I'm coming up with new things, and I'm also empowering myself from listening to different motivations from motivators out there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aus Masejo. And then Ketlegile, can you Nos, can you unmute Ketlegile? Okay. Ketlegile, can you kindly tell us how has the lockdown affected you as an author and also as a motivational speaker, as I also know that you're a public speaker? How has it affected you, and how have you been able to navigate around the current situation? And also, okay, lastly, I would also like to know how have you been connecting to your audience?
Okay, thank you very much, Mbuyi, for having me, and hello to everyone. For me, COVID-19, it has been a moment of turmoil and uncertainty, more especially when we look at it's something new that we haven't experienced before. So having to maneuver around that kind of a situation, it was very difficult, not for only myself, I believe for everybody. It brings that feeling of anxiety, that feeling of fear. What if that I wake up tomorrow, then one of my family members I'm also infected? And even if it's not really about being infected, being affected, it's also becoming emotionally draining, more especially if you are to look at the new infections, you are to look at the death rate that is happening in the country, and most importantly, what is happening worldwide. So I had those moments of having the anxiety. I remember I was telling my mentor, Masejo, that there was a day when I went to the shops, and when I got there, I was so very paranoid. I didn't want to touch any trolleys. I didn't want to really become close to anybody. So I had that moment of paranoia, but I had to sit down with myself and say, how am I going to really maneuver around this situation? And as much as I call myself an optimist, I had to remember, I had to sit down and remember, oh, I call myself an optimist. That means there should be something positive coming out of this situation. It can't be all bad, irrespective of us seeing the death rates that are increasing each and every day. But I believe there is a positive part about it, that we had time with ourselves, because most of the time we are making excuse stories that we don't have time because we have to wake up in the morning, you go to work, then after work you are very tired and you can't be really productive and invest so much in your personal development. So right now we've got all time to ourselves. So we are the ones who manage our time, who manage our work, more especially those who are working from home. You know that, okay, from this hour up to this hour, then I'll be doing my work. Then from this hour to that hour, I'll be able to invest in my personal development, and other motivational speakers, having to read a different content, and also being prepared, because I believe this is the moment where we have to really make sure that we are very armed and prepared for the future that we are hoping for, because I think this moment shall pass. So I believe it is high moment that we sit down, come out with plans, revise our plans, and say, this is what I wanted to do, and how do I really refine the plans that I had for 2020 and make them be applicable and relevant to the situation now, because there are some of there are restrictions that we're having now that might not allow us to really accomplish the plans and the goals that we had in the same way that we planned to achieve them at the beginning of the year. So I believe this is the time to reinvent for those who have always been making excuses that we don't have time. I believe this is the time where everybody's being given the second chance and saying, I'm always tired. I can't be productive because of so many commitments that I had. I had to go here and there running some errands. So people are given the chance to reinvent and look back, reflection on what is it that I have done for the past months, for the past years, since the year began. What is it that I have accomplished thus far, and how do I really use the platforms like the social networks in order to communicate with other people? Because right now technology is, it's considered as compulsory. I believe that's an important way that we should really allow ourselves to be acclimatized to it and be able to communicate with people, different people, and be able to inspire others to become the best version of themselves through the Instagram lives, through the Facebook lives. And I think that's another route of really reaching out to our audience as authors. So yeah, this is the moment to really reinvent ourselves and make sure that when this thing it's settled, then we are able to implement whatever the strategy, whatever plan that we have in place. So I've also been working on some plans that I'm thinking that it will be possible for us, with the faith that I have in God. I believe that it will be possible and we shall pass this stormy season. And another thing that I've realized, the power of gratitude. It has taught us the power of gratitude, because I've been a strong believer that even when we go through these cloudy moments, these are the moments that really help us to appreciate our unshakable courage, to say, I had to choose faith instead of fear. Even in this cloudy moment, with the faith that I have in God, I know that there will come the sunny days. So there are so many things that we are appreciating right now, having the time with our families, those people whom are close to our heart. If I'm to think of somebody who is working as a director, always on the street, or the people in a time at which we are forced to be with the family, but not necessarily as a bad thing, because I believe there is something good out of it, because of the time where they are being given that attention and the nurturance and love that they might not they might not have got at that time, the COVID-19. So there are so many things, and sharing and appreciate, because sometimes you sit down and say, I really miss those talks with different people, having to hug the people, show the love and the care. And as an author, I believe I've invested so much in my intellect,
Thank you.
my
Thank
intellectual
you.
growth. Thank you very much. So yeah, the intellect and the spiritual growth.
Thank you, Kate. We have to move to our next author. Very powerful, the things you have mentioned there, and I think it mirrors also what Masego was saying, that we only knew of the fourth industrial revolution, and now we're forced into it, and all these changes we still have to remain positive. So thank you for that contribution. I would like to give the opportunity to Usizwe Mabaso, who's also one of our authors joining us today, and who's a writer in isiZulu, who writes in our vernacular language of isiZulu. And please tell us, I know some of the projects that you've had have been affected by the coronavirus lockdown as well. But Mr. Mabaso, what are some of the things that you have put in place that you are currently practicing right now, or that you are about to implement, that are assisting you to still continue working during this time? Mr. Mabaso, can you hear me? I think it's
Yes, I hear you.
Thank
Now I
you. The
hear you.
floor is yours.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Piazza,
Yes,
can you
continue.
hear?
We do have an issue with the bandwidth with old networks. So everything may be slow on your side, but it's still continuing and we're still recording. It's perfect. Continue.
Okay, my problem, I cannot hear you.
Okay, you can continue speaking though. Ungakhuluma baba.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? No,
Okay. Maybe we can put on the
you hear me?
side. So, Masaho, I think that yes. There's one though.
Oh.
Okay,
All
can
right.
I? No,
Can
no.
we- Yeah.
I was saying, can we ask another question? Pose another question
Yes.
to our panelist.
Yes, I'd like to, anyone at this point, I believe, can then answer. I wanted to throw it to Umaseho, what you have put in place at this moment to be able to move with the fourth industrial revolution and still continue working during this time.
Okay. Okay, Noz, what I've put in place now, I came up with conversation with Ape Funpreneur. As you know, my brand name is Funpreneur. Those eyes are intimidating, champ. Those eyes are intimidating. So I came up with a I invite different on my Instagram for now, and they share with me. I've started with my mentees, as I've already started with Kiatlehile, and I interviewed the artists, more especially artists. I'm in love with youth artists because, as you know, right now, that industry is entertaining, is keeping us entertained, you know. So I'm also posting my quotations, what I think I posted, and what I've learned from Jada. It's Jada, ne? Nos, can you hear me? Okay. So what I've learned from Jada is it's something that I've been dragging to do, like advertising my book. As you know, I wrote a book, but I've been dragging my legs, you know, to advertise this book. And I think I have to act fast on that. But like I said, I'm coming up with, there's lots and lots of ideas. As a life coach, I'm now preparing myself for opportunities, because now things are going to change, you know. The old normal. The old normal won't be normal anymore. So I have to adjust with the old normal, the new normal. That's something doesn't disturb. Guys,
Yeah, apologies on that. I've had to switch off the video and the microphone of our newcomer. You may continue. We have just a minute left. Thank you.
okay. So can I continue?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I'm saying now I'm coming up with new ideas on how to improve or to grow my business. Like right now, as a life coach, I'm coming up with ideas. How am I going to tackle this coaching if I have to go digital? Like for teaching me this Zoom to come on board. One can be able to coach, you know, Mbuyi, and I'll be able to coach you
Yeah.
while on my bed and on in my room, you see. And then the unfortunate thing with me is because I'm so active on stage, you see. So now, but I know somewhere somehow we'll be able to reach out, we'll be able to put these things in order. One will be able to give you whatever she wants, the message, she will send the message the way she wants to. Like I'm saying, when I'm on stage, I'm fun, you see. So now I'm trying to think, how am I going to be effective at the same time sending a message to you guys now. But now, like I said, it was like it came as a shock. At least with you youngsters, you are already on board. You are on step number 3, whereas Rena, we were still in our mother's tummy, not yet born. I was still thinking, what is this for industrial revolution? And boom, you see. So now I was forced to learn about live Instagram, and I'm happy because it kept me on my tiptoes. Now I'm learning with you guys to do these things. Now with Zoom, I had to download Zoom. I had to ask, what is Zoom? Guys, Mbuyi said you want me on Zoom, and I was forced to download Zoom. Now I'm Kemote.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nas.
This is so sad. We have to close the meeting now. We definitely have to upgrade our system and go